Welcome back to the sanctuary of the unspoken, the hub where we decode the silence between the flashes. You are tuned into Whatever You Need, the only digital destination that refuses to accept the surface narrative, choosing instead to excavate the emotional truths buried deep within the celebrity zeitgeist. Tonight, we are turning the lens toward a story that is less about gossip and more about the reclamation of the soul. We are stepping onto a red carpet that transformed, in the span of a few heartbeats, from a parade of fashion into a battlefield of honor. If you are tired of the superficial and crave the substantial, you have found your tribe. Before we unravel the tapestry of this explosive evening, ensure you have subscribed to our channel. For those who wish to walk this investigative path right beside us, the join button is your key to the inner circle. Your likes are the currency of our community, and your comments are the voice of our jury. So settle in, because the story of Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda is about to be rewritten by them. The setting was the kind of gala that defines the industry's calendar, a night of high-wattage glamour where the air is perfumed with expensive scents, and the ozone smell of burning camera strobes. It is a place designed for celebration, yet on this particular evening, the atmosphere was thick with a static electricity that had nothing to do with the awards being handed out. For months, a phantom had haunted the corridors of the television world. The names Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda were spoken in hushed tones in makeup trailers, and typed furiously into the encrypted chats of the paparazzi. Their romance was the industry's worst-kept secret, a presence that hovered like a ghost. Felt by everyone, acknowledged by a select few, but confirmed by absolutely no one. They had chosen silence as their fortress, a dignified refusal to feed the beast of public consumption. But as we know, silence is a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. In the absence of their own words, others began to pick up the pen, drafting a narrative that was not only unauthorized but deeply malicious. Last night, that unauthorized script was not just discarded, it was incinerated. Gawkberg and Cemre did not arrive as two co-stars politely sharing the frame, dodging the implication of intimacy. They emerged from the darkness of the limousine into the blinding light of the carpet as a singular entity. Their entrance was a visual manifesto. Fingers interlaced not loosely, but with a grip that suggested a lifeline, steps perfectly synchronized in a rhythm that only two people who know each other's souls can master. They walked straight through the strobe-lit chaos without a flinch, eyes forward, chins raised. But this evening was destined to be more than a photo opportunity. It was a siege defense. Hovering over their heads like a dark cloud were the recent, stinging words of Cemre's past, the ruthless assertions hurled by her ex-boyfriend, Gawkberg. His claim was brutal in its simplicity and devastating in its implication. That this romance was theater, a cold calculation, a PR move dressed up in the costume of love. Let us pause to dissect the violence of that accusation. In the entertainment industry, the label of a PR couple is the coldest cut imaginable. It is an accusation that strips two human beings of their complexity, reducing their emotions to a spreadsheet, and their intimacy to marketing copy. It suggests that every smile shared is a clause in a contract, every touch is a plot point derived from a focus group, and every glance is a directive from a manager rather than a compulsion of the heart. This was the toxic narrative launched by Barack, a poison meant to infect the public perception of Gawkberg and Cemre before they even had a chance to speak. As they moved down the velvet rope, the press closed in, drawn like moths to the possibility of a combustive quote. The question waited in every lens, heavy and inevitable. When the microphone finally reached Cemre, the transformation was nothing short of cinematic. The pleasantries that usually grease the wheels of these interviews evaporated instantly. The practiced, porcelain smile of the red carpet didn't just recede, it hardened into a look of absolute resolve. In that split second, we watched the shift from starlet to sovereign. The air in the room changed frequency. The celebration sharpened into a contest of wills. When asked the inevitable question, was this relationship engineered for fame, Cemre did not stumble. She inhaled once, a steadying breath that seemed to anchor her to the very earth beneath her heels, and then she met the camera lens as if she were looking through the glass and into the eyes of her detractor. No one gets to minimize what we live, she declared. Her voice was not raised, but it was edged in tempered steel, cutting through the ambient noise of the gala. With that single sentence, she dismantled the misogynistic worldview behind the accusation, the notion that a woman's happiness must be stamped by strategy rather than feeling. "I choose the people in my life with my own heart," she added. It was a statement of autonomy. She was asserting that she stands unassisted, that her career, her choices, and her love are not propped up by a counterfeit facade. "This is our reality," she finished, "no one gets to shrink it to suit their headlines." It was a boundary line drawn in fire. Using her name and her heart as leverage for attention was a transgression she would no longer tolerate. "I want to stop here and turn the microphone to you, the whatever you need family." This situation brings up a burning question about the price of fame. How much of a celebrity's life belongs to the public? When an ex-partner speaks out, calling a new relationship fake, do you tend to believe the insider information, or do you side with the couple defending their privacy? Is the PR relationship label used too loosely these days to discredit genuine connections? I want to read your theories and thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a debate going. Are we too cynical, or is the industry too manipulative? If Cemre's words were the shield that deflected the arrow, then what followed from Gökberk Yıldırım was the blade that struck back. He had been a presence of calm all night, a perimeter of protection around her, silent, deliberate, watchful. But watching the pressure fix its predatory gaze on the woman he loves, watching her have to defend the legitimacy of her feelings to a crowd of strangers, shattered the pact he had made with silence. He stepped forward. He was not loud, never aggressive, that is not his way, but he was sure-footed, commanding the space in a way that quieted the room all at once. He took the microphone, and the hush was so complete you could hear the mechanical whir of the cameras focusing. "We've held our tongues for a long time," Gawkberg began, the weight of months of restraint audible in the timbre of his voice. But he did not just refute the rumor, he fundamentally reframed their origin story. "We found each other in our most fragile days," he said. I want you to read that sentence again. Fragile days. He did not say they met at a glitzy launch party or in a pristine trailer. He spoke of fragility. This implies exhaustion, the shared grief of the grind, the heavy fog that comes with filming schedules so demanding they threaten to swallow you whole. He painted a picture of a union forged not by managers in a boardroom, but by two human beings recognizing shelter in one another when they needed it most. That image alone pulls the plug on the PR narrative. Contrived romances are built on convenience and glamour, real bonds are built on the messy, exhausting reality of being human. I won't respect anyone who reduces what we share, he added, planting a stake firmly in the ground. When the press pressed him, was he rattled by Barack Burke's commentary? He refused the diplomatic dodge that most actors employ. No one's former chapter should be weaponized against the happiness they have now, he said plainly. This was a masterclass in dignity. He did not try to erase history, he simply insisted that it stay where it belongs, in the past. And then came the blow that ended any thought of continued silence. If turning our now into a talking point, calling it fake, is considered normal, then don't expect us to stay quiet. It was a warning. A promise that untruths would no longer be met with polite nods and forced smiles. Now, let's go behind the curtain, to the whispers that reach the whatever you need desk. Sources indicate that this outburst was the result of a significant internal tug-of-war. Some of Gawkberg's most trusted friends reportedly advised him, not responding to this makes you look weak. Imagine the conflict, a man whose personal creed is, I don't owe explanations, versus the primal need to protect the truth. But insiders say the trigger wasn't the attack on him, it was the belittling of Cemre's feelings. That was the spark. There is a chivalry there. Not the performative, white knight kind we see in movies, but the quiet, modern sort that steps up when dignity is on the line. Beyond the words, there was a language spoken that night that required no subtitles. It was in the geometry of their bodies. Touch. Angle. Space. Observers noted the way Cemre's hand was in his, squeezed, released, and squeezed again in a rhythm of reassurance. Gawkberg's body was constantly angled toward her, forming a shield without ever blocking her light. There was one fleeting moment, captured only by the sharpest eyes and analyzed by lip readers, when he leaned in close to her ear amidst the flashbulbs. The rumor mill says he whispered, "Whatever comes, we face it together. Let them see it." That sentence, if true, is more powerful than any press release. It affirms that their unity is their refuge. Every time their eyes met, a small, private smile appeared, the kind built on a secret understanding, and us against the storm vow. We must address the elephant that always sits in our industry's lounge. We know that manufactured romances exist. Publicists do pair people for ratings, that is the fuel that keeps 1,000 conspiracy theories burning. This cynicism is what Barack Burke tried to weaponize. But how do you tell the difference? Is it in the gaze that doesn't wander when the cameras stop recording? Is it in the way hands find each other without looking? Or is it exactly this? To people willing to stand in a room full of microphones, risking their cool, guarded reputations to fight for the truth of what they live. Tonight, Gawkberg and Cemre made a compelling case that some things are too raw to be scripted. The gala has ended, the red carpet has been rolled up, but the echo of Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda's declaration is still ringing in the ears of the industry. They have effectively set a new standard. Silence is an option, but truth is a weapon they are no longer afraid to use. We will be watching to see if the other side responds, but for now, the couple has seemingly won the war for their own narrative. If this deep dive into the psychology of this revelation captivated you, please show your support by hitting the like button. It helps us continue to bring you these high-quality scripts. Don't forget to subscribe to whatever you need and click the bell icon so you are the first to know when the next chapter unfolds. And for those who want to be part of our editorial process, the join button is waiting for you. Thank you for spending your time with us. Stay real, stay passionate, and we will see you in the next video.